Hello everyone, long time no see. It's Ricky here, also known as Ichiban on Dueling Book, and I want to talk about Blazing Dominion format. I think about making some videos regarding Blazing Dominion format, my thoughts. The way that I've been playing the format and the way the format has lined up in my head is not quite what people think it is. So I figured I would just start making some videos. I think the first thing I wanted to talk about was Elfnote, and specifically this version of Elfnote you see on your screen, Elfnote Azamina. You might have seen me play a lot of branded Elfnote. I've played some pure Elfnote with breakers. I've played some of the Power Patron Elfnote, some conglomeration of the three. Something that I haven't really gotten to play very much yet, which I will, in these coming weeks, is Azamina Elfnote. Azamina Elfnote is a very interesting deck. It adds a lot more power to your going first abilities, and it just adds a lot more bodies. It also makes your extra deck more flexible, as you can see. We do get to play cards like SP, Access Code, and you see this card right here, Celine. Celine is really underplayed in this version of the deck because it actually makes your engines bridge together. And I will show why that works in just a little bit here. But just to go over the deck, we have 3 Lucina, 3 Tania. Only 2 Regina. I think that 3 Regina, as you start seeing more Elfnote profiles, will probably start seeing less and less. I wouldn't even be surprised if this card ends up being a 1 of in a lot of my deck lists. It's just a pretty underpowered starter. You really want to be searching, or especially in this card, either searching it off of Lucina or especially it off of Welcome Home. You don't necessarily want to open this card. The amount of times that it's actually live as a hand trap is pretty low. It's only against specific matchups and specific board states where you don't feel like you're going to get 2 for 1. So I just don't like it very much. I like specialing it, when you're going into boards to trade, with cards like Imperm and stuff. Because then it baits out an interruption, your main Elfnote body, and then you can special Regina. Especially because a lot of times they'll do it on summon. So, if you special Lucina on summon, on summon they're going to Imperm, then you can go Regina, special to Lucina from your deck, and they literally trade the Imperm for nothing. It doesn't do anything at all. Which is nice, but I do think it's just that. It's just an additional extender, not even a superior extender because it's not always live. So yeah, and then 2 Power Patron, and then I do play the Fortuna and the Trap. No Medius in this list, just because I don't think it's needed. I kind of like having the flexibility of your normal summon. It allows you to play cards like Sphere Mode in the side deck and stuff like that. So yeah. What's nice is you have 18 non-engine slots in your main deck, so this deck is a little bit weaker to Fua than the branded version, because it's Fallen of the White Dragon is just so strong into Fua. But you can play the 5 cards to beat Fua, Call by Talons, Triple Ash. You can even play Droll if you want to, because this deck can Droll itself pretty comfortably after 1 or 2 summons. So yeah. Just to go over the combo and how these 5 cards, Wanted and Witch, how these cards bridge into the Elfnotes. I have 2 combos here. One is with a single discard. The second one is with 2 discards. So just to show you, very standard. You go Witch, summon Witch, set Deception, activate Deception, summon Demod, add Magician Souls, and just to recap, the combo is the exact same whether you draw Wanted or whether you draw Black Witch. So it doesn't change your combo at all. I think it just puts 1 more spell on Grave if you draw Wanted, so it's totally fine. Call it Azamina, Arceolaga, add Wanted, and this is why it doesn't matter, because you're adding, Sinful Spoils anyways off of your Arceolaga, so it doesn't matter whether you open it or not, you're still going to get that draw at the end of your combo. Magician Souls, dump Lucina, because these cards are spellcasters, which is kind of cool. It sucks that they lose to Secretarion, but it is nice they can be dumped off Magician Souls. You go Dark, add back the Hallowed Azamina, activate Hallowed Azamina, chain Wanted to get the search, special Sylvia, and then you go Celine. And this gets you your full Elfnote combo. And obviously this is if you had only 1 discard for Witch. If you have a send for Witch plus an additional monster, as you're going to see here, it does allow you to go ahead and do the same combo, but you do get to end with the Sylvia, and the Sylvia is going to actually be summoned on your 5th summon. So this is also going to play around Nibiru, something that some of the Elfnote versions actually have a little bit of trouble playing around. So if a card like Nibiru becomes more popular, this version becomes a little bit better, because as you see, Dark is our 4th summon here, and Sylvia is going to be our 5th summon. Something important to note is that in both of these combos, in any of the combos involving this, you're also getting a draw. So you do get to discard some of your blanks, your extra Elfnote cards, your extra Power Patron, your Dead Charmies, and you do get to have an additional draw at the end of the combo. And just to give you a sample of what the end board will look like, typically you'll end on something like SP Little Knight in your extra monster zone. You'll summon it before you synchro lock yourself. Then you'll have the trap card, the spell card, Crystal Wing, Dawn Dragster. You can also do Omega instead if you want. Realistically, like the options are limitless. I like the hand rip 2 options, so I do like going for Omega. So usually my end board will be Sylvia, Dawn Dragster, Trap Card, Omega, Lucina. You Omega them, you can Omega them during their main phase, so that way the card you banish with your Tinia gets sent to the graveyard during their standby phase. So yeah, I mean, hand rip 2, triple out negate, plus, any non-engine is pretty powerful, and no deck is beating that. So yeah, I just figured that this was a pretty interesting deck, and I kind of just wanted to show it to you guys, as I don't think it's something that's been explored very much. If you guys have any other decks you want me to cover, any other Elfnote variants, please let me know. I have also played some Doom Z, played Bread Plant, I've played Red Dragon Archfiend. I haven't played Cool Tune, but I do think there's a lot of Cool Tune content out there, if you do want to, go look at that. I do think that, just a general thought on the format, Cool Tune is the best deck going into Blazing Dominion. I don't want to get it twisted, that is the deck to beat. But it doesn't mean that the other decks can't compete. I do think that the other decks are pretty similar to the power level of Cool Tune. I don't think that they're that much slower, as people like to say. I think that the Elfnote decks and the Doomsday decks are just, right there with Cool Tune, slightly lower. I do think the Archmage is a little bit lower than the other ones, mostly just because it loses to all of the Floodgate hand traps, which is pretty tough. It's not that bad into Fua, but into Perulia and Droll, it's terrible, which is a really tough spot to beat, especially when Doomsday and Elfnote will probably be loading up on the Floodgate hand traps for each other. And, realistically against Cool Tune, you really just want a lot of engine. So, yeah, that's it. Just wanted to go over, this deck that I think is underexplored, and I'll probably do some more content on Elfnote. I do really like this deck. I'm excited to play Elfnote next format. And yeah, let me know if you guys have any questions or comments. Take care.